Soon to enter service with the Australian Army, the AS21 Redback infantry fighting vehicle will be built by Hanwha Defence Australia with 129 units on order. The adoption of this newer generation platform is a fairly huge shift for the Australians, who will use the vehicle to replace M113AS4 Armoured Personnel Carriers. So, in today's video, we look at the platform and its technical specifications and capabilities, as well as the competition that it won, beating out platforms like Ajax and CV90. So, let's get started. The Redback IFVs will be a huge capability boost for the Army as they replace 300 to 400 M113AS4s, APCs that were last upgraded between 2007 and 2012. Australia's Department of Defence, which we'll refer to from here on out as just Defence, had upgraded 431 of its aging fleet of over 700 M113s, which first saw service during the Vietnam conflict in the 1960s. The upgrading of the M113s commenced in 1992 with the decision to undertake a $50 million Australian minor upgrade of the entire fleet to provide an interim capability until a replacement vehicle could be developed and produced. However, Defence explained in a report that successive changes to the scope of the upgrade commenced almost immediately, and by 2001 it had become a major upgrade of 350 M113s at a cost of $594 million Australian dollars. Considering the original plan was to have a budget of $50 million, that's quite a severe case of scope/mission creep. It actually got even worse, as by 2010 to 2011, the total approved budget for the major upgrade project stood at $884.3 million. We don't want to focus too much on the M113 project, and so we'll end this section by quoting a 2012 government audit report, which states, "For an investment totaling more than $1 billion, the ADF expects to receive 431 upgraded M113s as an interim capability to carry it through to 2025 and the projected replacement of its armoured vehicles as part of Project Land 400. And so, with the Redback being one of two platforms resulting from the Land 400 project, we can see that the IFV's 2027 entry into service was supposed to be 2 years earlier. Getting to the Land 400 project that saw the Redback selection, this was actually a much larger transformation of Australia's land forces. Indeed, Land 400 consisted of several discrete projects with an estimated combined program cost of between $14 and $20 billion for acquisition alone back in 2020. With such a huge budget, Defence described Land 400 as the, quote, biggest and most expensive acquisition in Army's history. The M113 replacement portion of the project was Phase 3, and this began with the release of the Request for Tender, or RFT, on August 24, 2018. This would be followed by an initial evaluation of 4 tenders, followed by a shortlisting of the 2 most competitive tenders, with all of this taking place between March and September 2019. So, which vehicles were in the competition? Well, there was the CV90 being put forward by BAE Systems Hägglunds, an Ajax-based solution from General Dynamics Land Systems, the KF-41 Lynx infantry fighting vehicle from Rheinmetall, and finally the K-21 from Hanwha, marketed as the Redback. Now, according to Asia Pacific Defence Reporter, there was early speculation that the PSM Puma would be entering the competition as well. Thought to be a hypothetically very strong bidder, PSM would ultimately withdraw from the competition, particularly as the Australian Army required a manned turret. The Puma features an advanced remote-controlled unmanned turret. And so, in September 2019, the shortlisted competitors were announced, with Hanwha Defence and Rheinmetall Defence and their respective platforms, the K-21 and Lynx, still standing. In its 2021 Best and Final Offer press release, Rheinmetall highlighted how the Lynx Lance turret was already in manufacture for the Australian Boxer CRV program, thus providing high degrees of commonality and interoperability for Army, equating to a reduction in training and in-service support costs. Rheinmetall also highlighted its existing relationship with Australian enterprises through the aforementioned Boxer CRV program. Hanwha's webpage, pitching the Redback, emphasized technological advancement and had far less mention of industrial cooperation, even if that was certainly a part of its bid. Hanwha instead highlighted features like Iron Fist Active Protection System and Spike LR2 integration, in addition to the vehicle's composite rubber tracks and associated engineering, said to reduce noise and vibration while offering superior ride quality for crew and dismounts. Hanwha went on saying, "This reduced vibration also protects and extends the life of mission-critical systems." In isolation, this latter information could just be considered good marketing, but if we consider that initial complaints about Ajax arose in 2018 and 2019 with the British Army, it could have been added assurance that similar issues would not befall Hanwha's product. And then, after several years of evaluation, including a range of tests to evaluate lethality, blast and ballistics, transportability and mobility of the vehicles, it was announced in July 2023 that the government had selected Hanwha Defence Australia as the preferred tenderer to deliver 129 infantry fighting vehicles to the Australian Army. The government also announced its decision for the new vehicles to be built in Australia at Hanwha's facilities in the Geelong region, adding, "Building the vehicles locally will support thousands of high-skilled jobs, provide a significant economic boost to around 100 Australian defence industry companies, and support Australia's strategic imperative to develop sovereign defence manufacturing capabilities." The value of the Redback deal was said to be between 5 billion and 7 billion Aussie dollars, making it one of the largest capability acquisition projects in the history of the Army. The government then said it would be, quote, "accelerating this acquisition so that the first vehicle will be delivered in early 2027, 2 years earlier than the former government had planned." Contract negotiations would then take place, with Hanwha Defence Australia announcing in December 2023 that it had signed an approximately $4 billion contract for delivery of 129 IFVs. The company stated that it would have the fleet delivered in full by 2028, and that a series of 8 prototype vehicles would also be manufactured in both South Korea and Australia as the program develops. The contract was set to cover measures related to training, spares and sustainment efforts through till final acceptance in 2029, with an initial support contract in place for the first 5 years. Mr. Jae Il-son, President and CEO of Hanwha Aerospace, had this to say about the deal. "The order represents a further strengthening of the Hanwha presence in Australia next to the AS9 and AS10 Huntsman vehicles. The ties between Australia and South Korea are growing rapidly, and we are excited to be part of that growing relationship." So, what is there to know about the Redback? Well, named after the aggressive Australian redback spider capable of hunting and killing creatures much larger than itself, Hanwha highlights the following key elements of the vehicle: enhanced comfort via rubber tracks and independent suspension, exceptionally high levels of blast and ballistic protection, active protection systems, and an advanced turret with remote weapon station. With a crew of 3 plus space for 6 to 8 dismounts, the vehicle has a length of 8.8 meters, width of 3.6 meters, and a height of 3.8 meters. Fitted to the turret is a Mark 44 Bushmaster 2 30mm cannon as the main weapon. Secondary armament consists of a Mag 58 7.62mm GPMG. For anti-tank guided missiles, there's a dual Spike LR2 system. Finally, for the remote weapon station, the following options are available depending on mission requirements: a 5.56mm light support weapon, F89, a 7.62mm general service machine gun, Mag 58, a 12.7mm or 50 caliber machine gun, M2HB, or a 40mm grenade launcher, Mark 47. According to ArmyTechnology.com, the vehicle will offer armor protection options from STANAG levels 2 to 6. As mentioned earlier, the vehicle will be equipped with the Advanced Iron Fist Active Protection System, or APS, that can defend incoming line-of-sight guided anti-tank missiles/projectiles. For vehicle performance, max road speed is 70 km per hour, and this is achieved with an MTU 8-cylinder diesel engine generating a power output of 1,000 horsepower. Without refueling, its maximum range is stated to be 520 kilometers. While curb weight doesn't seem to be published, it's widely reported that combat weight is 42 tons. Our last section of this video concerns an extensive audit of this particular procurement, released earlier in 2026. Published by the Australian National Audit Office, auditors came to the following conclusions. Defence's procurement of infantry fighting vehicles has been partly effective, reflecting trade-offs made between delivery timeframes, future upgrade potential, and risk. It was said that the military moved away from its original intent to address an identified capability gap by pursuing a platform with high technical readiness, instead progressing a more developmental acquisition approach that increased exposure to integration and schedule risk. Management of the tender process was deemed to be partly effective, although it was said that the Ministry of Defence did not clearly document or communicate to government how its acquisition approach evolved over time, including in response to the developmental nature of the tendered solutions. It was added that the tender evaluation process was weakened by inconsistent treatment of risk and price adjustments, as well as the absence of clearly articulated weighting or prioritization of evaluation criteria in the tender documentation. Interestingly, the report ends its list of conclusions by saying that the Ministry of Defence failed to make timely payments to Hanwha Defence Australia, and this resulted in nearly $484,000 in penalty interest. All things considered, it looks like the audit wasn't exactly glowing, but it also wasn't totally scathing. And well, at this point in time, it's nowhere near as bad as the British Army's Ajax rollout, so that's a huge bonus. In case you have no idea what all these Ajax references are about, we'll link to a Baltic Defence Review video so you can catch up. Thinking about our significant Swedish audience over at Baltic Defence Review, we're guessing they'll all be saying, should have gone with the CV90. But what do you think of Australia choosing this Korean-designed IFV? A good call? Or would the Lynx or Puma or CV90 have been better? Let us know by leaving a comment.